Today is February 8, 2016. This is my collapsing infrastructure playlist. It's actually been about 6 months since I have done a video on this topic because it was getting too redundant. What this is over here in Southern California, about once a week on the local news, there will be a story of either a water main or water pipes rupturing, causing tens of thousands of gallons of water to go into the street and down the drain. The purpose of these videos was to illustrate the fact that America's infrastructure is decaying and dying, and that we are becoming a third world country. Over the course of the last year, there have been numerous high-profile stories showing that the collapsing infrastructure is going on across the country. All of these stories are in order, starting with the most recent. New York, radiation spikes 65,000% at Indian Point nuclear plant after leak. And what you have to realize here is this is going on across the country. There are numerous nuclear power plants that are leaking and no one seems to care. Now you need to realize how things work. When you have a legitimate crisis, they always pretend like it's not happening. There's very little news coverage because they don't want to freak everyone out. They don't want city halls to be packed with people complaining, and they don't want to fix a real problem. But when a crisis is manufactured, or it's not really a crisis at all, you will see round-the-clock news coverage as if it's the end of the world. That is your litmus test if something is a big deal or not. Michigan emails show officials knew of Flint water disease risk. And this is also going on nationwide. This is not only going on in Michigan. This is not only going on in the black neighborhoods. This is a problem across America. When I was growing up, we used to go to Mexico and they would always tell us, never drink the water in Mexico because you will get sick. And it was fairly common knowledge that water throughout most of the country was pretty safe to drink. The water in America is so bad now that I would not be surprised if people traveling from around the world were being told to not drink the water in America. Porter Ranch gas leak triggers state of emergency in California, and this is the classic example of a real crisis being swept under the rug because this is mainly only being talked about here. The local news coverage is very generic. The newspaper coverage has not been very good. And I found out recently that people across the country had no idea this was going on. And this is very similar to what I was saying. When this first happened, they denied there was even a leak. And then when they admitted there was a leak, they then said that the gas coming out of the ground was not unsafe and that you could stay in your homes. And that was clearly a lie, as thousands of people have been evacuated from their neighborhoods. Radioactive material spreading from St. Louis landfill, and this is another natural disaster. This was from back in December, and I barely heard anything about this. I bet there's a lot of people watching this video right now that are saying they didn't even know this was going on. And I'm sure there are numerous other stories that I have never even heard about that are going on that are very similar in nature. West Virginia begins investigating massive train derailment. And what happened here was there was an oil train that derailed and caused a massive explosion, and a bunch of oil went into this river. And, as usual, no one seems to really care except those in the area. And then, of course, we had this one. This was a false flag. EPA back in the crosshairs as Animas River spill comes under scrutiny. This is how the water is supposed to look. This is how it looked after the spill. And essentially what we found out was the EPA caused this to happen on purpose so they could get more funding. And of course, as usual, no one got in trouble. No one lost their job, because in America, we have to protect the land from the people. And these are the people protecting the land from us. They are screwing everything up. Everything is out of control. And I guess if you look at it from their point of view, it's all under control, because America loves a good crisis, because then they can install tyranny as a result of whatever that crisis was. So this is what is going on in our country. Our infrastructure is under total collapse. In Southern California, on an almost daily basis, we have water pipes exploding. And if I would have kept on that, I could have easily done 20 more videos on that. But I have just been too busy. And as I said, it is a very redundant story that's the same thing over and over and over again. But I had to show you these major stories that are not being covered that much. Animas River spill, Flint water, Porter Ranch gas leak, and now New York has leaking power plants with 65,000% radiation spikes. I mean, this is insane. That's all for now. Groundhog 61 signing out.